What's going on, y'all? Thanks for checking in with Callie. Please like, subscribe if you haven't. So you got to be impressed by what you've seen by the Clippers so far. And, the 3 games they've played so far this season, they're 2-1, which a lot of people out there might have thought they might have been 0-3. And which I didn't think that. I think they would at least win one of those games, especially against Golden State. That's what team I actually picked them to win against, Golden State specifically. I thought they could beat the Suns too, but I thought that can go either way, just because the Suns, they kind of like play down to their competition. And, the Clippers would have opportunities where they can score with the Suns and keep up, which they did. They went into overtime with them. It was a really good game, actually. Probably one of the most entertaining games, actually, of that evening. But they found their way and just didn't find their way enough. They didn't find a victory there. But the 2 back-to-back wins they do have has been impressive. And, it hasn't been because of James Harden, the reason why they've won those 2 games. I mean, of course, you can definitely say that he's been a part of it. But I think more solely the reason why they won these last 2 games against 2 really good teams, because the Warriors were 2-0 and the Denver Nuggets, a lot of people look at the Denver Nuggets as a championship team when they're right and healthy and when they have all their pieces. And now they added Russell Westbrook. A lot of people might believe that might be, the missing piece they needed last year coming off the bench to give them a spark. But either way, to me, the reason why the Clippers have looked really good in all 3 games, even though they lost the first one and won the last 2, really is because of Ivica Zubac. Zubac has had 3 20-plus point games the first 3 games of the season. Zubac looked like a dominant big man in the paint, and he looked like he looked like a big man who really knew what he wanted to do once the ball got to his hands. He didn't look confused. He looked as if like, okay, I'm looking for my shot. I'm looking for my offense. I'm going to throw this hook shot from the left or the right of the basket. I'm going in, I'm attacking, I'm being more aggressive by dunking. And it just looks like he's been more concise with his decision making in regards to what he should do on the offensive end. And it just helps him also on the defensive end. When he's scoring, when he's engaged, he will contribute a little bit more on the defensive end as well. So I feel like that's been the real big key for the Clippers. Now, don't get me wrong, James Harden is averaging about 22 points a game with about 8 or 9 assists, right now as we speak. So, I mean, definitely he's been a big part of the reason why, they've been playing, pretty well. Of course, we can always turn down the turnovers and things like that. But I mean, not just him, just the team in general, because specifically with this situation, when you're missing a star player like Kawhi Leonard, he can't make up for the mistakes that you make as a team. So the Clippers right now have to be turnover free as much as possible, even more than they've ever been, because they have less talent on the floor in regards to superstar power. But these last 2 games, I've been impressed. And I think you got to say, you as a Clippers fan, you got to be impressed too, because for them to be 2-1 in the first 3 games, that's been challenging. These are not games that are easy. These are games that's really challenging. I mean, you got the Suns, and then you come out with the Denver Nuggets, and then, you follow up with the Warriors where, you play them at home, and, they, like I said, they started out 2-0, scoring the most points in the first 2 games like ever in history. So, I mean, you got to really, tip your hat to that, and you got to hope that the Clippers keep going, because as I said before in the offseason, I said that the Clippers as a team, if you add Kawhi Leonard to this team, they're going to be pretty formidable. They really are, because when you look at the defense they have, the guys on the perimeter defensively, you got Nicholas Batum out there on the perimeter defending. You got Derrick Jones Jr. You got Chris Dunn out there defending. I mean, and then you got Terrence Mann. And then, honestly, they have a starting guard in Norman Powell, who's really he can start anytime he wants to. He doesn't have to come off the bench unless he really chooses to. And you got to give Norman Powell credit, too. These last 2 games specifically, maybe not the first game, but these last 2 games specifically, Norman Powell has really been playing like a starter, you know what I'm saying, and filling in quite fine offensively, for Kawhi and everything like that. They got to just do it by committee, of course. But I've liked what I've seen from this team so far. I like the fight they have. I like, the togetherness they have and the way they gel on the court. And James Harden is doing his very best to keep everybody engaged, along with getting his points as well. And Ty Lue is actually getting the best out of everybody he's putting on the floor. Of course, I wish they would add more Bones Highland to their offensive repertoire. But I think, at this point, unfortunately, I think they're looking for another home for Bones, which is not really something I expected or hoped for. But, I mean, it is what it is. But what they have and how they're playing right now, I have to say they're definitely a team that's not a welcome mat. You're not going to go in there and walk all over them, whether you're at home or they're at home. I think they give you fight every night, and I think that's something excited for Clippers fans to hold on to. You know what I'm saying? If they just get Kawhi Leonard back, now all those guys I just talked about defensively, they get back in their natural position. They don't have to play out of position to overcompensate for each other because they're missing a star player like Kawhi. And with Kawhi being around, that'll be less turnovers for James Harden, because he can always just throw it to Kawhi if everything else goes wrong. And now you got another elite scorer on the floor with all these pieces. Now, Zubac, I don't think he's really going to, play this way continuously. I hope he does. I hope he averages somewhere around 18 to 20 points, per game. That'd be great if he can do that the rest of the season, because if he can do that, well, I mean, the Clippers might be a contender for a championship if he can do that. And Kawhi's health gets back intact once he gets past all this, health issues and legal issues and all the things that surrounding him and the Clippers right now. But the positive thing is definitely they're finding ways to win and they're finding ways to be competitive. And I think that every night a team plays them, they're going to realize that the Clippers, whether Kawhi's on the floor or not, you better play them from the start to the finish, because they got guys who could put the ball in the basket and they got guys who really can defend. And I think the way this team is built, even without Paul George's services, you just got Kawhi and James Harden. That might suffice. That actually might be good enough, if pending on health, of course. But I like what I see with the team. I really do. I just think they need to try to find a way to simmer down all the negativity around them, get Kawhi back on the floor, and get everybody in their natural position, and get everybody gelling the way they should. Because with somebody like him on the floor, with what we're seeing now about how they're playing and how they're competing, I mean, like I said, they'll be a contending type team if Kawhi is there, based upon what I'm seeing right now about in regards to all the pieces they have and how they fit. I think everybody fits. I really do. And remember, Mo Bamba hasn't played yet, I don't believe. So, I mean, that's another piece. You can add another big body in there who can block shots, who will give them a little bit different, a difference of an effect rather than what Zubac can do. So, I mean, right now, I mean, based upon what I seen, I like what I saw. And really impressive win by, beating Golden State, and definitely impressive beating, the Denver Nuggets. So hopefully the Clippers just keep it going.